Such a great intro, thank you. And that is my name. Alright, man, I folded the hell out of this thing. Okay. Gray Rabbit, White Snow. A translation of Bach's Cello Suite No. 1, to be performed in the key of G major. Second movement, Allemande. The girl wakes at sunrise, eats breakfast with the other children, and tends to the sheep until it is time for supper. Many weeks go by in this fashion. She looks out onto the fields, the lines of trees. Each day she ushers the flock closer and closer to this border. Each day she attempts to look past, through them, inside the dark shadows that fill their gaps. For the first time in her life, the girl questions. The work is difficult, but good. She is taught the most efficient ways of picking seeds, shearing, milking, and handling the scythe. Also, since no dogs stay in the town for very long due to the lack of sufficient scraps, the girl becomes adept at running the perimeter to contain wandering ewe and cultivates a fearsome bark. Every day a particular sheep breaks from the flock to follow the girl. The affection is mutual. She names her Zara, a name she knows she has heard in her previous life. After supper, the girl always asks grandfather if she can begin her cello instruction, despite that his answer never changes. It is a full year before the girl is allowed to watch grandfather's music lessons. Due to the difficulty in obtaining instruments, he only has 2 students. Sitting on the dirt in the farthest corner of the basement, the girl plays along with the class, her callous fingers pressing the handles of a broom, her strong wrists guiding an ear of corn across the bristles. In another year, the girl is commonly regarded as the most competent sheep caretaker in the community. She is short, but capable of lifting much hay. The next time she asks her nightly question, the old man does not provide his customary response. "It is hard work, what I do," he says. "It requires much sacrifice. Are you very certain that this is what you want?" "Yes, grandfather, I am certain." "Then tomorrow we begin." Half note rest. Tonight each musician sits alone on a plank floating above the city of the girl's birth. Without chairs, the cellist, the bassist, and the timpanist sit flat, legs spread in wide parabolas. The rest are seated cross-legged, instruments pressed to their lips, cradled to their chest, balanced on a shoulder, or held out from the body like a potentially hazardous thing. The conductor, standing on his plank, turns to face the orchestra. They attempt to find a common key, but are unable to get in tune, regardless of how furiously their commandant bobs his baton. It is the clarinet player who looks down first, her plank instantly disintegrating beneath her. Second chair oboe is the next to fall, and in a moment only the conductor remains. He waves his baton, and is delighted to discover that the screams of the orchestra members undulate in rhythm with his movements. His symphony can go on as long as the musicians fall, and the musicians fall forever. There is no longer a city beneath to catch them. There cannot be. The girl has no idea what it looks like. Half note rest. Grandfather wakes her hours before sunrise. They eat together without speaking. Then he accompanies her to her post in the byre. Zara, hardly off-put by the early hour, runs to the girl before the other sheep regard the 2 humans in their presence. "This is the one then," grandfather says, taking the girl by the hand. Zara follows closely behind as they walk to the shed. "It is very important that you watch," says grandfather, swaying the sledgehammer gently. "Do you understand?" "Yes, grandfather," says the girl, lying. "I understand. The thing is not over quickly." Whole note rest. Shearing does not take long, but the skinning proves tedious. Flay. Flay is the new word she learns. The rib cage forms the body of the instrument, the spine its neck. Each hoof is transformed into a tuning peg. 8 strands of ligament are carefully stretched taut from a tree. These take time to dry, says grandfather. It will still be another week before we can string your instrument. Each animal only provides enough for 2 sets, so you must care for Zara like a sibling. She is irreplaceable. He directs her towards the mound of wool, places a femur still sticky atop it, and turns his back to her. Lessons start in exactly 7 days. You will need all of that time to craft your bow. Do you understand? The girl does not respond. 6th movement. Zig. It is in the afternoon when she hears the main door collapse, hears them stomping in, hears grandfather scream. She does not leave her room, does not attempt an impossible rescue, does not ask herself what they could possibly have done to make that man shout out. She has imagined this moment so many times. She moves without thinking. Zara, while far too small for her now, is still not impossible to play. Tendons firm but relaxed, she draws the bow. The strings vibrate the wood, vibrate the air inside the cavity where Zara's invisible heart pulses, propagates spores of sound out across the room, particles ricocheting off each other. She does not think. Movement, her only brain. The walls rattle as the soldiers stomp up the steps. Zara carries a long, low vibrato. 2 measures, 4 measures, 8. Soon the music will stop and they will be upon her. The men pound against her door. Her notes construct a barricade. The men in the hall, now her percussionists, clobber and clobber until the walls, the room, her entire existence palpitate. They dictate the tempo. Largo, challenge her. Lento, declare that whatever is left, they will take. Larghetto, they will consume. Accelerando, they will appropriate. Accelerando, they will annihilate. Accelerando. It will not be long before they peak. Before we peak, she thinks. Adagio. Flecked paint rains down from the ceiling. Veins open up along the walls. The windows shatter as her percussionists attempt their solo. But she will not allow it. Again they increase the tempo. Marcia moderato to allegretto. Vivace to allegrissimo. She reverts it back. Tempo primo. An impromptu 8th rest and she has caught them off guard. But their duel cannot go on forever. The walls disappear. The woman vanishes with each note. The ceiling disappears. Above her, only a cloud of skin. Her blood transforms to vapor, drifts away from her. The memories vanish with each note. The door shatters. The sinews comprising her muscles unfurl in perfect time, creeping upwards until there is only bone. The song vanishes with each note. The door swings open. Her skeleton dematerializes. 1. The door remains closed forever. 2. Only the cello remains. 3. There is no door. 4. Her grandfather waits downstairs. I understand, says the girl. I understand. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Evan Harris.